Okay. See, this is the last topic. Okay, this is actually this and another. We have like one more topic for today. So this invest criteria in Agile. So what is this invest criteria is? I told you that your user, see, we have spoken about this backlog item. So backlog item is nothing but epics, user stories. We spoke right before epics user stories. So that should satisfy. I told very clearly that should have a description and an acceptance criteria, right? The same way, that user story should satisfy the invest criteria. So what is this invest criteria? See, first line you can just ignore. I will explain to you later. So if you want to write a good user story, then I already mentioned it should have a description and an acceptance criteria defined, correct?
Yes.
In addition to that, it should also follow the invest principle. So what is this invest principle? Invest, it's an acronym. I stands for independent, N stands for negotiable, V stands for valuable, E stands for estimatable, S stands for small, T stands for testable. Okay. In this, I will start one by one. First, I, independent. Whatever stories you are creating or epic, whatever you are creating, I will just speak from an story point of view. Okay, story you will be able to easily understand, right, and relate, because we discussed a little bit earlier. So independent means the story should be as much independent as possible. That means there should not be any dependency with other stories or any other product backlog item. It should be independent. Because if you are having dependency with another story, then you need to wait up to that, right, in order to complete this. So you need to always ensure that your story is independent. Next, N, negotiable. See, always your story should be written in such a way that it's negotiable between the product owner and the team. That means if you're writing a good user stories, then there should be a space for discussion. Consider you are writing a user story and there is no scope for negotiation. See, this user story is everything. We are writing on a, what to say, on based upon some analysis or some assumption only we are writing, right? So in
Yes.
future, there may be some other more functionalities may also, for example, some efforts may be required. So you need to do some negotiation kind of thing with the product owner. There may be a possibility. So there should be space for the discussion. That is what is known as N. And V. V stands for valuable. This I mentioned earlier also. Each user story should deliver a business value to the customer. Earlier I told one example for the payment with PayPal, right? So PayPal means payment with PayPal is delivering a business value that, yeah, this functionality is completed, correct? So it should, every user story should have a business value delivered. Next, it should be estimatable. See, this estimation concept, I don't want to go now. I will teach you later, but it should be estimatable. That means if you are having one user story, the team should be able to understand and they should be able to estimate. Estimate means how much based upon the efforts required, they should be able to tell like, okay, this may take like this much time or this is the efforts required. So it should be that it should be estimatable. And this is a very important criteria, small. The last two criteria is very, very important. S stands for small. This I mentioned earlier also, and user story should be as much small as possible, right? So that it can be done within one sprint. Within one sprint, you should be able to complete the user story.
Okay.
Okay. Now I'm having a follow-up question to you. Suppose consider that what will happen if the user story is very big?
What to happen if the user story is big, right?
Yeah. See here, the invest criteria is telling that user story should be small, right? Why it can't be big?
It took time.
Yeah, correct. Time. Because one user story should be small enough to be completed within one sprint, right?
Yes.
If it is too big, two reasons are there. Then you cannot complete within one sprint. As early as possible, you cannot deliver the story. And second thing is you
Yes.
cannot estimate properly.
Yeah, correct.
That is why we are splitting the user story. That's why we saw this technique, SPIDR technique, and vertical slicing, these things and all we saw. So when you should split the story as much small as possible. This is a very important criteria. Next, testable. See, this I told earlier also, your user story should be testable. So that means your user story should have a very good acceptance criteria so that the testers will be there, right? That means the QA people. So the QA people should be able to test that user story, and after testing only we'll be able to deliver, right? So always a user story should be testable.
Okay.
So this is the invest criteria, and every user story should follow this invest criteria, and this is a very important criteria in Agile.
Okay.